Hey guys, I'm going to pick up from where I left off. If there's some background noise, please bear with me, but there are neighbours and children and machines going, and a bird that won't shut up. On February the 7th, 1987, this investigator was advised there was a bomb threat telephoned into the treehouse. The children were taken by sheriff's deputies to LCS something. They remained there until security could be arranged by this agency for the treehouse. Lieutenant Blank and Agent Blank arranged to have several plain-clothed investigators rotate a security detail. The children were then moved back to the treehouse. This investigator was also advised by FBI Supervisor Blank that they were going to secure a search warrant for the van and would be serving it this date. This investigator advised them of the materials that were in TPD property from the van. They advised that they would like to have an agent go through there. Blank came to TPD and went through the materials. More leads from the Gainesville area were given to the FBI to follow up on. Also, on this date, Blank from the National Child Safety Council came to IFTP to assist this agency in any way possible. In looking through one of his publications, this investigator felt that missing child Blank may be Blank. This investigator spoke with Investigator Blank from Montgomery PD, who advised that Blank had seen the picture and stated that Blank was not Blank. Was also listed as having blue eyes and Blank has brown eyes. This investigator asked that investigator Blank to get a copy of the 35mm picture that Agent Blank will be sending to the Washington office of the FBI and have Blank look at it. He stated that he would. The investigator also spoke with Blank of Marshall, California. He advised that Blank of the child listed as Blank. I wish there wasn't so many blanks. So much redacted. He stated that Blank's real name is Blank, and Blank advised he has never seen the child, but Blank have. He stated he last saw Blank, whose name is Blank, approximately 5 years ago in Gainesville. He stated that he went to Gainesville to visit Blank, who was then living in a woman's support cooperative. He stated that they lived in a rented house and had a van. Two other women, Blank stated that he was there for 48 hours, and when he left, he realised he had been very well manipulated and really knew little of what was going on in Blank's life. Blank was pregnant at the time. Blank stated that approximately 1 year ago, he and his ex-wife went to visit Blank in DC. His ex-wife was living there at the time. He stated that they went to the Blank address, knocked and got no answer. Blank stated that as they were walking away, he turned around and saw someone looking out a window at him. The next day they returned to the house. This time someone came to the door and let them in, but refused to tell them anything about Blank. Stated that he became extremely agitated and left. He stated that shortly thereafter he received a letter from Blank saying that she had been living in Miami acting like a rich person and that he, Blank, had been talking to her husband Blank. Blank also advised this investigator that Blank and another woman named Blank had crashed at Blank's house sometime in 1985. She lived in Washington, D.C. at Blank. He stated that she finally had to have the police come and evict them from the house. This may help to explain Blank's story of Blank kicking Blank and police coming. Blank advised that he would be interested in getting custody of Blank. This investigator advised him that he should contact the lawyer. Blank advised that the children were fine and in good health. Late that night, this investigator was advised that a memo from blank was given to ABC News in Washington and that it would be forwarded to this agency. As of this writing, the memo has not been read. The investigation was also contacted by Detective Blank, who advised that he would be in Tallahassee on February the 8th, 1987 to interview the children. Children? Looks like it. Recommended disposition, cleared by arrest. Whoa. On February the 8th, 1987, this investigator met with the following people at TPD. Blank of Washington Metro PD, blank of CPD, blank of ERS, blank of the FBI. We discussed the current case and what further information was needed by all agencies. It was decided by consensus that the children would remain at their respective foster care homes. Any reunion between the children would take place at a later date. HRS was given the information the possible parents of the children. It was also made clear that the HRS would be present for the interview until a guardian ad litem was appointed. Ad litem, sorry. At the meeting, Detective Blank advised that no evidence of a satanic cult was found at either residence in Washington, D.C. He was concerned about information he received from 3 separate sources concerning the basement of the house on blank. He indicated that there may have been a hole dug in the walls or the floor of the basement for unknown reasons. He stated that their reason for being in Tallahassee is to interview the children and see if they have any information. And if you know anything about the tunnels, guys, this all, see, we need to know this because it's all connecting in. And I think we should know this. This investigator and Detective Blank made arrangements to interview Blank at the treehouse that evening. Agent Blank would be present with Detective Blank during the interview of Blank. This interview will take place on February the 9th, 1987. A list of known members of the finders was discussed. See case file. At approximately 6 p.m, this investigator and Detective Blank went to the treehouse to interview Blank. She was introduced to Detective Blank and told that he was from Washington, D.C. When asked about the children, she stated that she only knew the 6 here in Tallahassee and a baby named Blank. She stated he was still being fed by Blank and could not make the trip. When asked if she knew Blank, she said no. Blank also named 10 Finder adult members. She stated that she knew thousands of adults, but she had trouble coming up with the last name of the group of 10. When this investigator suggested the boss, she asked who. This investigator told her she knew who I was talking about. She then said Blank appeared to be agitated with Blank. Of the adult members, Blank was asked who she liked the most. She said blank. She stated she didn't like any of the men. When asked which member she didn't like, she said Blank. Blank went on to explain that Blank told a secret. Blank stated that Blank took Blank and her to a restaurant one day to get away from Blank, another Finders member who was acting crazy. Blank apparently wrote a letter to Blank telling him that Blank took the children to the restaurant without the explanation of why. Blank, according to Blank, got in trouble. She did not elaborate on what trouble might be. Detective Blank asked about some of the games the children played. Blank said she could not remember any. He asked her where she played at Blank. She stated that sometimes they play on the porch, rear, in a closet. Blank stated that they put on black clothes and made monster noises. She stated that this was scary sometimes. Blank also stated that she went down in the basement when the lights are off, and this was scary too. He tried to question Blank about the basement at this time, but she did not want to talk about it. Detective Blank then started naming some adult names. He was making up fictitious names to see if Blank was credible. She stated she did not know any of the people he had mentioned until he mentioned Blank. We had learnt earlier that Blank had mentioned Blank in connection with the basement. Blank's eyes lit up and she stated that she knew Blank. She stated that Blank used to be a Boy Scout. He lived in high fields. There were no houses there. She stated that there was sort of a road covered by tall, high grass. Blank stated that Blank had lots of medicine and had cured an earache she had once. Blank also stated that Blank liked to be by himself and listen to the birds. Wow. Missing 411 in the middle of nowhere? This guy with lots of drugs, lots of medicine. Anyway, note, information from the FBI identifies Blank as Blank. See case file. From this conversation, we started talking about the basement again. Blank described the basement as 4 separate rooms, one being a laundry room, one a food room, and one a tool room. She stated that the floors were concrete. She stated only one hole down there was one in the wall in the food room. When we started talking about the farm, she stated they had goats and cats at the farm. She stated that they ate the goats. Blank also said that the cats went away. Blank said they had gone to the farm on the way down to Florida. The itinerary was, according to Blank, Washington, D.C. to Virginia, to Kentucky, to Gainesville, to Tallahassee. They were in BLBRY, Kentucky, while in that state. Blank stated that on other occasions she had to go to Tampa, Florida. Blank was then asked about the warehouse. She said she didn't go there often. She said they would stay in tents and sleep with electric blankets. Blank also mentioned that there would be a guard over the children, but she said she couldn't remember who that was. The only game Blank would mention was the game she described earlier to this investigator. This investigator asked her to tell Detective Blank about the game with the holy shirts. She was consistent with her description of the game. Additional interviews will proceed with need. Lots of games going on here, guys. MK Ultra? It just strikes me. I don't know why. Maybe that she keeps saying the same thing and won't go any further into detail on it. I don't know. Maybe just frightened. Thursday, February the 5th, 1987, 8 a.m. Blank of HRS Youth Services is contacted by me and asked if he needs any information. Blank advises he would like to know what is in the photographs taken out of the impounded van. I obtained this evidence from the property section and open it. Blank is contacted by me and told of the photos' contents. Friday, February 6, 1987, 8 a.m. Meeting with Blank to discuss the case and activity needed today. Meeting lasts until approximately 9 a.m. 9:07 a.m. I contacted Blank at the local Chrysler Plymouth dealership and found out that the van impounded, VIN Blank, was probably made in Canada near a town called Pilette. No other information obtained on the van from these people. They refer me to the Orlando Regional Office, 305-352-72422. 9:22 a.m. I contacted Blank in Orlando and questioned him about the van. Blank attempted to locate some information but can only tell me that the van was probably made in Canada. Blank suggested I contact Detroit. 9:34 a.m. I contact Blank in Detroit, Michigan, Chrysler head office, 213-956-5316. Blank advises that he will have to do some checking and call back. 10:55 a.m. Blank returns the call and advises as best he can tell the van was made in Canada and shipped to Kirby Dodging in Arlington, Virginia. Blank advised that the van was then purchased by a company or organisation called ISCC or IBCC. 1701 NW, Pennsylvania Avenue, Washington, D.C. Blank stated that he has no further information. Oh, this is really hard to read. 12:21 a.m. I begin returning phone calls that have been received by the department. The first person I call is blank. Blank is not in the office, message left. 11:25 a.m. Blank, Centre for Exploited Children, Washington, D.C. Blank. Blank is not in her office, message left. 11:45 a.m. Blank, Tampa, Florida. Blank, no answer. 11:45 a.m. Blank is out to lunch, message left. 11:48 a.m. Contacted FIC and asked their help in tracing the van. 11:52 a.m. Blank of FDLE is contacted. She is putting together missing persons flyers. 12 noon. Blank out of office, left message. 12:02 p.m. Blank stated that she knows blank that he is or was a farmhand on her neighbour's farm. Blank stated that the farm belongs to the blank and is used for watermelon growing. Blank stated that at the beginning of last week, January 26 to 30, she saw blank walk up and down her street with 10 children. Blank stated that the children were living in the watermelon field belonging to blank. Stated that all of the other children were white and young. She thought it strange that the children were not in school since she was seeing them during the middle of the day. Blank stated that the children and blank were in a van, but does not remember any details about the van. And guys, look, if you have any insight or anything clicks with you, let me know in the comments as well. 12:14 p.m. Blank Research Institute, Washington, D.C. Blank. No answer. He told blank that the children we had belonged to a cult that has a name of the finders. 12:15 p.m. I'd say. Blank developmental trainee something blank. She stated that on Tuesday, February the 3rd, 1987, I can't read it. Something at her job site at her job site and noticed that the trash dumpster was not emptied as it should have been. Blank stated that she called the city of Tallahassee and asked why. She stated that the person that she called with name unknown told her that the truck driver would not empty the dumpster because a blue van was blocking his access to the dumpster. Blank stated that she did not see the van when she came to work. She also stated that she does not know who the driver is. 12:17 p.m. Blank called me back. C12 noon. Works for the Centre of Independent Living on Ocala Road. Blank stated that on Wednesday, one of her clients, blank ran an ad in the local newspaper to have someone work for him. Blank stated that on Wednesday, the 4th of the 2nd, 87, a person answered the ad and acted strange. Blank stated that she was told by blank that the stranger said he was a transit from Washington, D.C. and he was on his way to Mexico, that he wanted no money but that he would like it if someone would bring children to blank apartments so they could take a bath. What? Blank stated that the stranger left on Wednesday and returned on Friday the 2nd of the 6th, or the 6th of the 2nd, depending on where you live, and again worked for blank. Stated that blank then issued the individual a check, that the check was made payable to a blank. Stated that blank stated that he had borrowed a buddy's van, but that on both days he walked to and from the location. Blank was described as a blank. Stated that blank carried a dark blue backpack. Blank stated that she had been talking with Detective Blank of the Netro Police, and that she thinks she is blank, one of the children our department has in custody. Blank stated that she is blank. I advised I would have to verify her identity and call back. I then called the Metro Police in Washington, D.C., who verified that blank had been talking with them about a child named blank. Sergeant Blank advised that blank is probably blank, one of the children. While talking with Sergeant, he advised me that after the news broadcast in Washington on the 5th of 2nd, 87, he had gotten many phone calls from citizens identifying one of the suspects we have in custody. Blank stated that the caller ID blank, that blank was employed by blank, and that he had been recently working with the blank. Sergeant Blank stated that when his agency served the search warrant on the 5th of the 2nd, 87, they found no one, but they did find a computer bulletin board message that said, "The group in Tallahassee has been caught. We are scared and hiding." Blank also stated that a piece of paper was found in the house that said, "Mail for blank and blank to Miami, Florida, in care of general delivery." Sergeant Blank gave information of a missing child from Maryland. It is as follows, blank. I then called blank back. Blank stated that blank had entered a small cult in Washington about 2 years ago. She stated that through blank she met other members of the cult and their children. Blank stated that she met children by the names of blank, and a lot of blank. And guys, another thing, missing children. How do we know this is actually their children? Were they all DNA? Oh, they couldn't have been DNA tested. I don't think in 1987 they actually did have DNA. I'm not sure. You can let me know, guys, if you know any of that. But it strikes me as these aren't actually their kids, that they may have been kidnapped. But they're using these kids and telling these kids that this person's their mother, or you know. Okay, 3:34 p.m. received a call from a guy named Blank with Interpol Blank. Blank stated that the individual investigator, Blank, asked him to check has a history in Canada from 1960 to 1971. Blank stated that Immigration Service has a fingerprint card on this person. Blank to contact Buffalo, New York if it is needed. Investigator Blank later advises that this is the wrong person to ignore information. Weird. 3:40 p.m. Received a phone call from Blank reporting person who says that Channel 27 was at her door wanting to interview her. Blank stated that she is going to give the interview. 3:45 p.m. Blank of child find in New York calls and wants copies of children's photographs. Address is blank, New York. 3:54 p.m. Blank of HRS calls. She states that the kids have been in a foster home and that they have made the following statement. It was written by foster parents. Blank was watching TV and news came on showing a house in which Blank said that is the house where I lived. The children are made to sleep outside of the house and mums are allowed to sleep inside the house. Blank makes them sleep outside. Men come and visit mums and they sleep inside also. There are 7 mums in the house. Blank game caller is Blank. Blank owns a man named Blank. Wow, owns it. The children left home after Christmas because the mums had to wean their babies. They slept in a tent that had holes in it and the snow came through the holes. They had to cook over a candle. Wow, that is so bad. That's what it looks like, guys. Sorry. But the typing is so faint and then there's all spelling mistakes and stuff. The mums went to something to do money work and worked for Blank. Mums wore a lot of jewellery and lipstick. Can imagine. Blank said he went to school then later said he had never been to school. He stated blank would have blank and blank. I think that's spank him. No one has a car but blank. Everything belonged to blank. Blank stated that the children could talk gave the following information on who their mothers and fathers were. Blank, a lot of blanks. Also gave a name of a person who had called from Gainesville with information on 2 men. More blank, a lot of blanks. Blank stated that blank said that she had placed an ad in the University of Florida paper and 2 men answered the ad. Blank stated that one of the men identified himself as blank, a graduate of University of Florida, and that blank identified the other male as blank. This person will be contacted for an interview. 4:40 p.m. Blank CPT called and is also working the case. No other information at this time. Sorry, guys. Additional information. February 9th, 1987. 8:45 a.m. I was asked by investigator blank to contact blank National Child Safety Council. Blank and reference this case. Blank was contacted in Orlando, Florida. He stated that he was there helping with the National Association of Missing Children, an organisation based in Orlando, Florida. Blank stated that he had met with investigator blank on Saturday, the 7th of the 2nd, 87, in reference to this investigation, and that she may have identified one of his missing children photos as that of one of the children currently being held by this agency and HRS. What I was just saying, I think these children are not their children. Blank stated that he needed the dates of births of the children to help with the identifications of the children. Dates of birth were provided, authorised by investigator blank. If needed, he can be reached at blank after hours. 9:35 a.m. I contacted blank with the Watertown, New York Police Department. Blank called, stated that his agency is working a missing child case and will send us information on the missing child so that we might check it with the children we have in custody. Call stated that the missing child has blank, information packet being sent to this agency. 9:45 a.m. attempted contact with blank of the Niagara Falls County Sheriff's Department. He was not in the office. Message left of call. Blank. 9:50 a.m. contacted blank, who related the following incident. On Saturday the 7th of the 2nd, 1987, a stranger was in her mobile home park handing candy and apples to children that live in the park. The Hillsborough County Sheriff's Department was notified of the stranger and came to the park and spoke to the person. Does not know any further information. Blank. With this information, I contacted the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Department and spoke to blank. Stated that on the 7th of the 11th, 87, a deputy blank went to the trailer park and arrested a blank for auto theft out of Kentucky, and that the deputy impounded a red-white Volkswagen van with the VIN of blank. Stated that the arrestee, WM blank, and that we can refer to their case number of 87-009-225 if further information is needed. 10:11 a.m. Sergeant blank with the Illinois State Police, blank, who advised that he was currently investigating a missing child from his state, asked us to check the children. We have to see... Oh, check the children. It reminds me of when a stranger calls. Oh, it's all horrible. The children we have to see if any of them are his missing child. Blank stated that the child's name is blank, stated that he would send a photo of the missing child to this agency. So we could check. He said he had no fingerprints of the child, so no other information. 10:50 a.m. Detective Blank, Connecticut State Police. Blank stated that he had no information to add, but if this agency needed help to contact him. 10:54 a.m. Called and stated that computer service is willing to place the names and description of the children in their computer for international reference and attempts to identify them. Good idea. See above narrative for contact information. 11 a.m. Sergeant Blank, Punta Gorda Police Department. Blank said that he currently had a suspect in his custody for minor traffic violation and wished to give us the suspect's description. He described the male as blank, reddish hair and beard. He was operating a blank tag not registered to the vehicle. Suspect's name is blank. 11:12 a.m. Blank, she received a phone call from an anonymous caller about a suspicious person in her neighbourhood. Blank stated that a white male moved in blank 3 days ago and that he had 2 young children with him and that he would not let the children play with the other children in the neighbourhood or let them out of the house. Blank stated that the caller said that a blank only description has been seen at the house on a couple of occasions. No other information. 11:30 a.m. Sheriff Blank of Suffolk County, New York was called by me. Blank said that he had been in contact with one of our arrested suspect's parents and that the parents wanted the arrestee to contact them. No information provided. 12:05 p.m. Contact with Lieutenant Blank of Culpeper, Virginia Police Department. Blank stated that he worked a case in the past and through this investigation learned that Blank at one time lived in Ocala, Florida. Blank stated that he did not know where Blank was at this time. He stated that he was familiar with Blank and had a contact with the cult finders. Blank said that the contact told him that Blank put out the word to the members to flee and hide. Blank stated that Blank himself would probably go to Andrews Air Force Base and get a military plane flight to China. Blank stated he has a photo of Blank and would send a copy of said photo to me. 12:10 p.m. Contact with Officer Blank of the Tampa Police Department. Blank stated he had received a phone call from a Blank. Blank stated that Blank told him that she knows of the names of the parents of 2 of the children we have in custody. Blank provided the following. Blank neither mother is blank mother is blank. Blank stated that Blank said that she met 2 in a Tampa park. Unknown location of the 2 at this time. The 2 at one time lived at blank. 12-something p.m. Contact with Blank, who works with People magazine. Blank wanted names of suspects to check it against a list she had compiled over the years working child abuse cases. No information given to her. She provided me with information. 12-4 p.m. 12:34, don't know. Sergeant Blank, see above narrative for contact information. Narrative, called again and stated that a female who thinks one of the children we have in custody may be hers and is willing to come to Tallahassee and try to identify her child. I stated that this is not possible at this time. 12-something p.m. Inspector Blank, San Francisco Police Department, stated that a local paper has printed an article that indicates that San Francisco is involved in this case. I advised that I know of no information indicating San Francisco. Advised him we have new media contact with Blank. 2:26 p.m. Investigator Blank of Niagara County, New York Sheriff's Office. He had missing person case. Advised of the following. Missing child is blank. W/X. Blank. FBI has fingerprint classification. The number is blank. 3:15 p.m. Attempted to contact Blank. Central recruit Recording advises that the member cannot be reached, unable to locate. 3:17 p.m. Blank blank says she is blank and wants information on what is going to happen to the children and how they will be identified. I explained the identification procedure. No other information. 3 p.m. Blank stated that he observed a white male, maybe a black male, in the parking lot of Kmart, Appalachia Parkway. Sorry, it's really hard to read. It doesn't say anymore. On. Oh, it might be missing. On Wednesday. Can't read the date. Running with a person in his hands. Blank stated that the male ran toward a blue van sitting in the parking lot. Blank stated he didn't think the van had anything to do with the running male, but the child did run toward the van. Blank stated that after this he saw a dirty white van travel into the Myers Park area. Blank stated he did not get a tag number and that this was prior to our agency picking the arrestees up. 3:27 p.m. Attempted contact with Blank, no answer. 3:29 p.m. Contacted Blank, Children's Clearinghouse, South Carolina. Blank stated that one of the children we have in custody looks like a missing child in their registry. Blank gave the following information. Blank, he has blank advised that this information has been given to FDLE blank. 3:52 p.m. Blank was contacted and stated that she thinks one of the children looks similar to a friend's child. Blank stated that the friend blank had moved to Columbus, Georgia before Christmas and did not know if the child was still with her. Blank stated that she did not know if blank had a phone number or not. Blank gave the address of blank as the home of blank was the child's name. I then contacted the Columbus Police Department who went to blank and checked on blank. CPD advised that both were there and that the child was in good condition. 3:58 p.m. Blank called and stated that the following children, blank, children listed in abducted children's directory, look similar to children we have in custody. 4:13 p.m. Attempted contact with blank. He was out of the office, left message. Next time, I can't read it. An anonymous caller from Beaumont, Texas called. She stated that there is a strange occurrence going on in a town called Buna, Texas. Sorry guys, I can't say it. Stated that there is a piece of property on blank that is surrounded by barbed wire fence and had an electronic hurricane fence at the driveway. She stated that men with semi-automatic weapons walk around inside of the fence. She stated the information has it that the people who occupy the space are running a church and said the church leader is blank, that blank owns a business in Buna, Texas using the name of blank. The caller said she could offer no information on our case. Recommended disposition, case open. Narrative summary. A citizen blank called TPD and indicated that several children and some men were in Myers Park. They appeared suspicious to blank. TPD patrol officers arrived at the park and observed 6 children. The children appeared to be dirty and bug-bitten. The 2 men were questioned as to their identity and that of the children. The 2 men were unable to satisfy the officers' inquiries and were arrested and each charged with child abuse. I'm reading it all, even though we already know most of this. I'm reading it again because it will help to cement it in my mind. I don't know about you, but reading things over and over again can help to make it sink into my head and stay there. So I'm just going to have a sip of my tea. And then I'm going to continue on. Okay, they were inquiries, they were arrested and each charged with child abuse. Additional information. This investigator first observed the children at my office in Sex Crimes and Juvenile Unit of Criminal Investigations approximately 9:30 p.m. February the 4th, 1987. I observed the van in the TPD Sallyport area outside my office. The 6 children appeared to be dirty, hair a mess, running noses, etc. Investigator Blank was working with several patrol officers in the office. Efforts were being made to accommodate the children, who appeared to be tired and cranky. In that I was present reference to another investigation, I did not attempt to talk with the children or get involved with the case. Continued additional information. The next morning I learnt that I would be a backup investigator to this case. Within the next several days, national media accounts were highly involved in this case. From Thursday, February the 5th through Friday, February the 20th, I worked solely on this case, having taken only 1 day off during that time. On Wednesday, February 11th, I was assigned a lead investigator due to invoice Blank, Investigator Blank, beginning her pre-scheduled vacation. At the beginning of the investigation, it became apparent that information was going to pour in from all over the United States. Information was received from civilians, law enforcement officials, news reporters, etc. They wished to give or get information concerning the children, the suspects, the finders group, cult information, etc. All messages were placed into a computer for analysis. This investigator went to the van at Deloach's impound lot off Spring Hill Road and recovered various items within the van. These items were papers and notebooks of information. This information was, continued additional information, reviewed and found to contain information from the occupants concerning their identity, where they had been, etc. A small microcomputer, TRS-80, was taken from the van by FBI authorities in a subsequent check of the van on Sunday, February the 8th. The computer was examined by agents Blank and Blank and found to contain one message that was copied down. A copy of the message was given to TPD. Also on Sunday, February the 8th, the part-time employee of TPD, Blank Blank, also an FSU student, bought another TRS-80 computer to TPD and turned it over to this investigator. He indicated he was in the front of the FSU library and found it outside at an outside phone on Thursday morning, February the 5th. He indicated that he had learnt how to work it and found messages in it that had names of TPD investigators and others. He thought it might have something to do with this case and therefore brought it to TPD. This investigator examined the computer and transcribed several pages of messages from it. The messages indicated that they were being sent via phone lines to a central computer system where members of the same group can exchange messages. A message taken from this computer indicates they were confused why the men with the kids hadn't left any messages. Another message indicated that 2 men had been arrested in Tallahassee and that the children were being held. It was later learnt that this computer was inadvertently left at the FSU phone by members of this same group but travelling separately. Was it left for other members of the group to pick up? Who knows? Information obtained from the van also was confusing. Suspect Blank had 2 Miranda rights forms that appeared to be similar. One indicated his name was Blank and the other Blank. Both forms were indicating his right to remain silent, etc. One of the forms began, "I have something to hide." The other form began, "I have nothing to hide." Wow. Looks like they're set up for any occasion here. February the 6th. Investigator Blank and Special Agent Blank, FBI, and this investigator went to Leon County Jail in an attempt to speak with both suspects. While at the jail, we met Blank. He granted an interview where he explained that he hadn't seen Blank for several years. Blank had recently been in Gainesville, where Blank had stopped by to see Blank for an hour and had Blank with him at the time. Blank isn't known to have any children. Blank also gave TPD copies of some strange letters that had been sent to him and Blank in the past. Blank said that Blank had gotten into a different way of life, but he, Blank, didn't fully understand it. At the jail, Blank was interviewed briefly. He indicated that he wished to have his attorney present. He gave the name of Blank and a Washington, D.C. phone number of Blank. Blank indicated that his home address is blank. With a PX blank, he indicated that blank and that blank didn't wish to talk but did wish to have contact with his attorney. Later, a call to blank revealed that blank is not an attorney but a past employee of the attorney I spoke with. A blank indicated that he blank is an attorney and that several members of the group he did not recognise the name finders had worked for him in the past doing research. He indicated that he would attempt to contact blank and have him contact blank or this investigator. This investigator never received a message from blank. Contact with mothers. On February the 9th, TPD received a call from a mother of one of the children. They indicated that they would call back on Tuesday. About 11:15 a.m, this investigator spoke with blank who discussed the possibility of meeting with the investigators when they arrived in Tal. She was concerned about the children and the suspects. She also was highly concerned about the news blitz that was portraying that they were a satanic cult, etc. I indicated that I was not personally making any news releases, nor would I be till after the case is closed. She made specific reference to spokesman blank saying things that weren't true. She wanted to be assured that if they came, they would be treated fairly. I assured her that if she came, that as of that time, there were no warrants for any of them. I indicated that they would be interviewed with a minimum of persons involved. She indicated she needed time to discuss the situation. She recalled this investigator on Wednesday, February the 11th, and indicated that she and other mothers would be coming to Tallahassee and expected to arrive on Thursday about noon or thereafter. Interviews with mothers. This investigator learned on Friday through a local news article that the women had arrived and seeking meetings with HRS officials concerning their children. This investigator was not contacted by the group until Monday, February 16th. A conversation with their attorney, blank, indicated that the women wanted to cooperate with law enforcement investigators. A schedule was set up to interview the mothers during the next 3 days. By Wednesday evening, February the 18th, this investigator had interviewed all 5 mothers separately, no other persons present. Each mother was sworn in and the interviews recorded. Each mother filled out questionnaires regarding their identity and that of their children. This information is being verified at this time. Each mother indicated that she didn't view the group as finders. It seems that the finders aspect of the group is the business-related part of the group. The social aspects of the group has no name. The mothers indicated that they haven't used or heard the name finders for a long time. Several mothers identified finders' business cards, but they didn't know the cards were still around. One mother indicated that the cards were probably buried in the material of the van for a long time. The investigator carried information into the interviews that had been collected and analysed. Each woman gave essentially the same information as follows. Approximately late December, the group of 20 adults and 7 children were living on blank Washington, D.C. After Christmas, the children and several of the men took the 6 oldest children, those in custody, to a work site in LBRY, Kentucky. The men were going to participate in the construction of a retirement settlement called New Hope, which is being developed by the Reverend Blank. The women went to California to work for 5 to 6 weeks doing temporary employment duties, ranging from clerical to writing and editing for different employers. When the men arrived in Kentucky, they were informed that the project was behind schedule. This investigator located information in the van materials, which was identified as New Hope Prospectus, which was a schedule of events regarding the construction of that retirement settlement. The dates involved in the project, as listed on the prospectus, were similar to those being given by the mothers. None of the mothers had seen the New Hope Prospectus I held. Other information given by the women was consistent with the information on the material. Since the project was at a standstill, the men used their computers to communicate the new circumstance to the working women in California. It was decided that the men would take the children upon an adventure to Florida. For several weeks, the group stayed near Gainesville, Florida. During this time, Blank went to see Blank. The men in the group did various types of work for travel money. Supposedly, the men had started out their trip with about $1,500 cash. Along the way, they answer ads from people requesting odd job help. For reasons this investigator was unable to determine, the men and children, using 2 vans, moved north in the Tallahassee area. They were known strong possibility to have been in Gainesville on Monday, February 1st, as a Gainesville newspaper with that date was in the van. They travelled to Tallahassee soon after and were taken into custody on Wednesday evening, February the 4th. Deception. Regarding the deception apparent in this case, the mothers indicated that they didn't know why Blank had 2 forms of Miranda rights with him, each identifying him differently, and one saying he had something to hide. None of the mothers understood why an intercepted message that contained the information that Blank, another group member, had called TPD early in the case using the name Blank. It was guesstimated that Blank used the wrong name so as not to give away his true identity and preclude his getting any information from case investigators. It was Blank computer and message that was found at the library at FSJ campus. When this investigator asked the mothers why the 2 suspects had indicated that they were taking the children to Mexico to a school for brilliant children, the mothers indicated that they had talked about taking the children there possibly one day. None of the mothers seemed to know that a message told the men to use that story if stopped by authorities. I think it seems they were all given the same story. The mothers seemed to agree that it was poor for the men to have made that statement. It wasn't appropriate. They further conceded that the 2 men, Blank, weren't articulate and hadn't handled the confrontation with the patrol officers poorly. Each mother indicated that it was understandable why the officers were asking questions and how the 2 men's actions and answers would be suspicious. Each mother maintained that there is nothing particular that they are hiding. Yeah, I'm sure. I don't believe it. Regarding the deception in general, the mothers indicated that they don't wish to give out information about the group, in that a lot of people don't take the time to understand them, probably because they won't explain it. They indicated that they don't particularly have anything to hide, but they don't feel obligated to explain about themselves. Some of the mothers pointed out the group has suffered from the latest news blitz which identifies the group as satanic and sacrificing. They vehemently deny those accusations and say they were better off to say little or nothing than give information that can be misconstrued. Yes, well, it can only be misconstrued, really, if it's sus, to me, anyway. You might think differently. Let me know, guys. Okay, I'm going to stop it here. I'm going to continue on tomorrow. I'll do another one tomorrow. Like, share, and subscribe, and thank you for the people who have. I really appreciate that, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Or maybe, you never know, maybe later on today. Okay, guys. Bye.